Sup, Nerdmigos? I'm the Jive Talking Nerd, John Norgrove. We have Wife here, and this is Review Jive. Hopefully, fucking short-ass edition, because I won't have to edit a long-ass fucking video. So, at the recommendation of the Philip DeFranco show,
we watched Tunnel, because we'd already seen Train to Busan.
Tunnel. We've already seen Train to Busan, so that's on the channel. Fucking look it up. And watch our review. It's fantastic. And then, so Philip DeFranco was like, you haven't lived unless you've seen Train to Busan and Tunnel. Let me know what's up. And I was like, alright, that's a great idea, because we love Train to Busan, so I have to assume that if we put those two together, that it's equally good.
And we were not disappointed.
Yeah, Tunnel's absolutely fantastic. It's sitting at a 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb right now. And I feel like that's a little low.
I do feel like that's low.
But I get, like, a lot of people don't like foreign films or whatever, so that's more than acceptable.
Well, those people are wrong, because Tunnel was great.
Yeah,
so the premise is this guy is driving to a place on the way there, he has to go through a tunnel. They're newly opened, constructed by the government of Korea, and he's driving, and the tunnel collapses on top of him.
Yeah, it's like a poorly constructed
terrifying
tunnel.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Because anytime you drive through a tunnel, you've always had that fleeting thought, and this actually explores what would happen if it was in that thought. You know, he only has like a bottle of water. It was his daughter's birthday, so all he has is basically like 2 bottles of water and a cake. Yeah. And that's it. And you're waiting to see what happens. The government comes. It's not like a supernatural horror. It's kind of like a thriller. It reminded me a lot of the Ryan Reynolds movie, I think it's called Buried, where he's stuck in that box buried underground, because it had a similar, like, intense, like, oh my god, what's gonna happen kind of feel to it. So, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. The main character is played by Jung-woo, who looked familiar. I recognize from something. His wife was played by Doona Bae, who's
a fantastic actress.
Yeah, she was in Cloud Atlas. Is that also the...
She was also the woman from
Pacific
Sense8.
Rim?
Who was from, I think, Taiwan, actually, in Sense8. But she's an incredibly talented actress.
Yeah.
And she plays his wife, and the story is really harrowing. Though it actually takes place over, I don't want to tell you exactly how many days, but over a series of many days. Many days he's trapped in the tunnel, and they're trying to get him out, and I believe the guy who is employed by the lead engineer guy who's leading the rescue, is that Dae-kyung?
That's Dal-su.
Yeah.
He's played by Dal-su, who, like, he was an old boy, he was in The Host. He also looked incredibly familiar.
He's been in a ton of things. I've seen him in stuff. His performance in this, I feel like, was actually much more impressive than any of the other actors, because he had to play a guy who genuinely wanted to get our main character out, and he goes through a lot. In fact, at one point, he tells the main character to try drinking his own pee because he's running out of water and they can't get, they're trying to get him out. And he's like, I felt... so he tries it, and it's awful, apparently. And he tells the main character, I drank my own urine. And the main character is like, why? And he's like, I felt bad telling you to do something that I hadn't done. So this guy really brings a lot of heart to it. He makes this movie heart-wrenching in a way that if it was a different actor cast in this, I don't think that you would really see.
Yeah. The main character does a good job, sort of,
being like an every guy?
Yeah, he's
just a normal dude.
Well, he goes from that not knowing what to do to starting to slowly moving towards rational decisions. Mm-hmm. I mean, it has that, it's very 127 hours. And it has that classic, like, I just got in a terrible accident, so I'm going to drink half of this fucking bottle of water in an instant because I'm not thinking appropriately kind of thing.
And then I'm going to ration severely the rest of my water out.
Like, once it's explained to him and stuff. But yeah, that he does a good job. And there's this whole thing where, like, it's not just, like, 127 Hours, where it's just him in the car underground.
Or, like, Buried, where it's just flashbacks.
It has... it goes through what the engineer is going through and like what his wife is going through and like the social repercussions of this like big thing that's going on where like this huge like mile-long tunnel collapsed and it cut off the main thoroughfare and like how the government responds to it and
it was a lot like that little girl that fell in the well in like the 80s, the 90s. I don't know. Forever ago. Do you remember the girl that fell in the well? I remember there was a girl that fell in a well. Everybody was riveted. She survived, But this movie captures a lot of those elements, and I thought it was really good. It definitely, I didn't at least look at any trailers or synopsis before we started watching, so I had no idea what we were going to get into. I didn't know if he gets in the tunnel and then zombies happen, because it was recommended with Train to Busan. But it didn't happen, and I'm actually happy that it didn't, because this movie was perfect as it was. So if you like foreign movies, if you like Korean movies and the way that they kind of do things, if you like the edge of your seat feel that, say, Train to Busan or Game of Thrones episode 6, what up, has, definitely watch this movie. It is phenomenal. And it's a pretty heavy movie, so when you're done, treat yourself some ice cream, but it's definitely worth the watch.
It's on Netflix, so you can watch it on Netflix. If you haven't seen Train to Busan, go watch Train to Busan.
Watch it now.
Yeah, this is a good example of the horrible failure that is the American cinematography system right now. How we've had so many of these high budget, just fucking hot garbage films, and like just this year alone. And this fucking Korean flick is so good.
So good.
And it's like, it clearly they had a budget and they're doing the stuff and all this.
And
but it's like just
actors.
it's a fresh take on the story and like the twists and turns which you will appreciate are a fresh take on those twists and turns. And I thought it was just way better than so many of the American films that I've seen as of late. I've been increasingly let down by these fucking blockbusters, that people either rant and rave are like the greatest thing since sliced bread, or, they make these big blockbusters and everybody's like, oh, it's too artsy or it's too this, and they fucking bitch and they tear it down and stuff like that. So this was just a good movie. It reminded me a lot of what films were in the 90s, where it's just like, there's some characters, there's some shit going on, fucking just hold on for the ride and experience what the fuck's happening.
There was a lot less Will Smith than 90s movies, though, which kind of makes me sad.
There could have been more Will Smith. Or the Jacked guy from Train to Busan. 2? I would have accepted Korean The Rock, which if you haven't watched Train to Busan, and you'll immediately understand what we mean by Korean The Rock. But if you're still confused because you're dumb or something, watch our trailer or watch our review, and we explain that the dude from Train to Busan in the blue suit, the fucking jet guy, is secret low-key Korean The Rock. Yeah. And he, I feel, should be in every Korean movie ever because he's so good. Yeah. That being said...
Also, Korean The Rock, if you're watching this, I love you.
Yeah, what's up? Seriously. That being said, jokes aside, Jung-woo who played Jung-soo, the main guy, was absolutely fantastic. Just totally carried like the stress and sort of this ebb and flow where he like builds up this stress and then finally he kind of like realizes whatever, or some other situational thing happens and it sort of relieves that pressure and things like that. I in all reality believe the starring role of this movie was Doona Bae's portrayal of Seong-hun. She, the wife, is so like, she just, you feel bad for her obviously because her husband's trapped in a tunnel, but you just feel like increasingly bad for her as the time. You're like, yeah, it's like I feel sad that the guy's stuck in the tunnel and he's like drinking his own pee and having like ration old birthday cake.
But
or
at least he's
whatever.
got a cute dog.
Right. But like no, it's
because there is a cute dog in this movie, and his name is Tangy, and it's a pug. You like pugs? Watch this movie.
It's you know, his plight is good, you know, and it's riveting, but what his wife goes through, I feel is significantly more moving, and I feel is portrayed in such a fashion that's like, it's like you could hear the orchestra music every time you saw her face, you know?
Yeah.
Where it was just heavy. She played just this heavy role. Dae-kyung, the guy in charge of the rescue operation, is a really good, like you saw the stresses he was undergoing and the pains and all this kind of stuff, but he had this, and in all reality the main character went through the same thing, and I think that's what made the wife seem so heavy, is both the main character, the guy in the tunnel, and the lead rescuer, both sort of went through these moments where, like, they would be doing something, and then they would crack a joke, or like do some moment of physical comedy or something like that to relieve the tension, which was great because in this kind of movie, it wasn't full 127 hours where it's just like, let's get that fucking Oscar drama, you know, just like to the nines. There were moments where you legitimately laughed in this movie, which is good because it's like, a heavy movie like that needs to have those moments of lightheartedness, so it doesn't just become like, ugh, I get it, a rock slide again, you know, or fucking whatever, where you're just like, can he die so the fucking movie's over? Like, you never have that, and I think that happens more frequently than not when you're watching some of these, like, slow burn dramas that you get, and they're just like, oh, and then this bad thing happened, and then this bad thing happened, and then this bad thing happened, and you're just like,
I'm done.
Just done. Just fucking kill it. Shoot him shoot him in the fucking face. Fuck this guy, making everything worse. So it was nice that they had these little moments of humor or lightheartedness that both the characters, you know, experienced and were able to feed off of, or if it was some sort of a body language thing or situational thing where the audience was able to feed off of it and just kind of like lighten up a little bit. And then, of course, they're like, hey, remember that lighthearted, like, awesome? What about sadness over here? And you're just like, why again? I had to go through the whole thing again. So it was it was really, really good. 100% recommend it to people. And if you have any other Korean films on Netflix, or let's see, what do we have? Netflix, Hulu, HBO.
We have all of them. If there's another film you want us to review, or a Korean film
specifically
for our Korean film fans out there, let
Chinese
us know.
or Japanese,
we actually
it doesn't have to just be
really
Korean.
enjoy foreign films
Yeah.
because they incorporate an element that tries to really hone in on storytelling and less on these really high-paid actors. Some are blockbuster, and are a little bit less like trying to milk it for an Oscar. So if you have any films like that, let us know. Did you see this movie? Tell us what you thought in the comments.
Yeah, comment.
How much do you love Korean The Rock? And you know, tell us about that too.
Yeah.
So
tell us about Korean The Rock.
Yeah.
Or regular The Rock. I'll accept that.
Yeah,
he's supposed to be running for president soon.
I really hope so.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually legitimately excited about The Rock. You know what would be the best is if The Rock ran for president. This is totally off subject, but you're gonna listen. If The Rock ran for president, and then from Wild Wild West,
Will Smith?
Will Smith was his VP.
Oh.
Right?
Johnson Smith.
Johnson Smith, motherfuckers!
Yeah.
All right.
I smell what he's campaigning. Anyways.
All right. Either way, I've been John Norgrove. This has been Wife. This has been a review for Tunnel, the Korean film that came out in 2016. So let us know what you think below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that other stuff that I put down here. And stay nerdy, guys.